All right, we are back with another Warcraft Rumble video for you guys, and in this one, I want to go over Scholomance, which is one of the brand new dungeons, well, the brand new dungeon that just came to the game in Warcraft Rumble. Now, before we get into it in the guide, I do want to give a very special thank you to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video. Now, this is, like I said, the newest dungeon, and I want to go over the mechanics. So, a lot of I'm very much over leveled for this, so I want to make sure I went like the lowest leader I had. This is Horde week currently, so Sneed is currently my, I guess, weakest, you could say, lowest level Horde leader. And then yeah, I mean, you can see that I have some gold and some purples and only one blue and then another one. But anyway, the deck is pretty straightforward. I think Harpies is great. I like to use an execute for basically any dungeon at this point in the game, and then I also almost always use the following three units. I always use Witch Doctor, same with Whelp Eggs, and then Quillbarrow. Those three are always in all of my decks, regardless of what week it is, but in almost all PvE content, it's these three. And usually I either run Dragon's Breath or Execute. So I'm to make it as beginner friendly as I can, I will not be using Dragon's Breath. And I also don't really need it. Execute does the job beautifully. So let's go straight into it and let's talk about it one fight at a time. So first thing, looking at the different buffs you can get. So I always like lifesteal on my tanks, especially when I have so many of them. I have, well, two. Cobalt's not really a tank, but he's a melee. The Heart's kind of mid. Cobalt's staying alive longer, can help with gold, but let's go and get a lifesteal. All right, so the first fight, I don't want to oversimplify it, but is pretty straightforward. You basically just go ARAM. All random, all mid is the strategy that I like to utilize and tends to work the best. So here we are going into it. First off, the dungeon is beautiful, I would like to say. And you can see that the layout is as follows. There's one chest in the middle, there's a gold node here, and a gold node, basically a gold node in each of the three lanes. Now, the unique thing here is that if you go up the right lane, you can get to the left lane, but it's like backwards, kind of. I don't know. I always thought like the way this is, like, it's simple, but different in its own kind of way. But basically, you would do, like I said, all random, all mid, and just get this first tower. I try to get, if I have an unbound unit, I will drop them on here, especially obviously a Quillbarrow, or even Whelp Eggs to try to stop. I think a miner will spawn here and try to take it, and then some other units, unbound skeletons party, will spawn here as well. But outside of that, you basically get this and you don't have to, and then I just throw my miner here as soon as I can, let him mine that. He will likely die before that happens, because what this boss does is she will actually make duplicates of herself with significantly less health, but still does a ton of damage. Let's go ahead and just show you, but it is basically they spawn here and then one in the back. There you go. So like I said, Quillbarrow in the beginning, and get this. I'm gonna wait for a tank to spawn. I guess we can go ahead and just leave this guy here. All right, cool. Now we got our tank. Like I said, I'm gonna throw my miner off to the side. We're gonna get this turret pretty easily. I'm gonna go ahead and get another one. You see the books coming in. That's one of the new minis that are part of this fight. I mean, I can see she's in the middle, so she will undoubtedly do some decent damage. I have a decent push going middle, so I'm just basically adding it here. You can see the amount of damage she takes, and she basically goes into turret range, which is a bit of a problem for her. But basically after that, guys, you just run middle. I usually just throw some additional minis off to the left side to take it and ignore the right one. But you can see once you get to this middle part, you're just going to tank her. And if I wanted to just execute her down, I could, but I'll just let her finish it off. Very straightforward fight. Don't try to chase around the different blops of her. Basically just go straight to the back and focus on the main one. And that's all you have to do for the first phase, or the first round. Very, very simple. But I guess borderline easy to make complicated. Just go ARAM. Just remember, first fight, ARAM. All random, all mid. So the next relic we're gonna pick, I do like that first one, the steady shot. Ooh, but spider, nah. Let's go with the steady shot. All right, now this fight can be a little tricky. So this one I'm glad it was added to the game, because it's probably the most unique. Yeah, I'd say the most unique fight in the game. So it's totally open. You're basically in a big graveyard. And the meeting stones are as follows. You can see there's these graves everywhere, conveniently in the same triangle that you see with the gold. You want to obviously get these meeting stones first, and then the boss is always going to be in the back. He's going to basically spawn unbound skeletons and a little mini versions of himself all over the place all the time. Just make sure you keep getting the meeting stones back so you don't get more dumped on top of you than you already are going to be getting, and then just defend your base. So I basically put my unbound minis to go ahead and just get these going, and then I throw my first miner there. You can see that nobody spawns first. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my tank in the middle with my, see there's the mini of him. So you can see he does some non-trivial amount of damage, but again, we're progressing. We're gonna go ahead and turn this guy around here. And you're going to get another one of these massive tanks. I usually just throw, once again, my whelp eggs at him because he can't attack them once they're popped. You do that for basically all PvE at this point. If you don't know, harpies or whelp eggs will just kill these. And then I'm going to go ahead and you can see that another one just spawned. We're going to go ahead and do this. If I can go over the talents, you can really run whatever you want. But because there's not many towers in this, when I run Sneed, I just do the one that gives me, basically give him the mining trait so he can just mine for me. So you can see lots and lots of minis coming. I basically just didn't spawn any for a little bit and you can see what happens. But now we got a nice push going. So this should be an easy dub at this point. And he's dead. So again, I am very over leveled. I identify with that. But the strategy is still the same. Basically, make sure you always keep the those stones yours. Otherwise, you will undoubtedly get overwhelmed by the amount of minis he can throw at you. And then just basically keep your sort of tank in the front and some either healer in the back or another just ranged minis behind your tank. And that's the fight for most of these when it comes to the Horde. Very straightforward tank front, ranged minis in the back, you know. All right, so I don't really love that one. I haven't used my execute, but that's the one I would generally go with to make it so it only costs 2 gold. Let's do that. And again, I'm not using my execute. You guys can, of course, figure out when you would be using your execute. I just don't want to use it because it's going to chunk down the boss significantly, and I have out-leveled it. Now this fight is pretty unique. So you can see again, once again, 0 towers. The only towers you get in all 3 of these fights is in the first one. So that's where siege damage is basically a waste, which is why Sneed can be, I don't want to say challenging, but at lower levels, I'm sure it is challenging. So just don't feel pressure to use any of your Horde siege units. Just go ahead and use the Dark Spirit Troll as well as the Witch Doctor. So what he does is he will spawn circles on the ground, either here, on him, or over here. Once your minis, not his minis, your minis land on it, it will have a short delay and then teleport your minis along with a big old tank of his in the middle here. And then once here in the middle, there will also be a chest that you're basically fighting over, but you can of course drop unbound minis on top of that. Outside of that, you do get some unbound skeletons and those not werewolves. What are they called? I always call them werewolves, but you'll see. So cool barrel over there. Let's just throw him over there. We're gonna make sure we get these as soon as we can. Again, my strategy is basically always the same. This is the purple circle I was talking about. You do get some meat wagons that spawn from side to side. Gold control is the name of the game in most cases. It will do the same to flying. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of, let's get him here. Hopefully he hits a harpy first. He did, so he explodes. So you can see now my harpies are all the way up here. So he can, I forgot to say, you can also get teleported all the way up there. But this is the one where you get teleported with a big bad. Here you go. So you can see it there. And my harpies just left him to get the gold conveniently. And so he got it. Not the end of the world in this fight, because again, my harpies are just going to go and kill him apparently and focus on the boss, but your melee units are obviously just going to fight whatever is closest to you. That fight can be a little tricky because he's constantly moving all of your minis around. Once again, I'm severely out leveling it, but the concept is still there where you want to just basically get small pushes together, so that way when he teleports your minis away, you will have a army close enough that can easily withstand whichever teleport you go to, either the back right, the back left, or the middle, and ideally get the additional gold. And that's basically it. I'm a big fan of this dungeon. I like mechanically how it looks. I think it's beautiful, and I wish I was like doing this all over again on a fresh account. Maybe I will one day, to actually get like a challenge out of these. But once again, I've been playing since day one, so not much of a challenge there. But I do love the different strategies that go into this. And let me know if you struggle on any of these, and if you would like to see a more in-depth breakdown of a specific unit or anything else. Let me know. I'd be happy to make that video for you. Once again, thank you so much to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video, and I hope to see you guys in a video very, very soon. Take it easy.